No. 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 Ooh, what's that? No. No. Nope. All right, let's see. I have neglected putting together this cylinder head for months now after sending it out to the shop to get a valve job to resurface the mating surface, and I really want to get this car running. I'm running out of summer daylight. I got some stuff coming up that I'm going to be out for a while, but I need to get going on this thing. It's time to put it back together. This is how the cylinder head came back from the machine shop. I asked them to clean it up, which they did. Do a valve job, which at least the invoice says that they did. This nut, or this bolt, was loose, which makes me wonder if the caps on holding the cam are torqued down right. So I'm just going to go through before I start reassembling it and make sure that these are back to or at where they're supposed to be. I believe it's 15 foot-pounds according to the Bentley manual. This one needs to go somewhere in the 40 range, I think. I'll make sure that I put it in the video, make sure that it's torqued down, because it is definitely not been torqued down at all. And then next thing I need to do is put these inserts in. It's been a long time coming. I did take, obviously, the old ones off. Here's one of the old ones. So I had no idea how easily or hard these insulators were going to come off. And you can see from this first one that it was cracked just coming out of the cylinder head. So I took a pair of pliers and put a little pressure to it, and you can see that one came off with relatively little force. And the same with the second one. The next two were a different story. But I finally got them off with no damage to the brass inserts. Time to put the new ones on. There's a procedure to do that in the Bentley manual. It asked for some special Loctite that I've never used before. This is a primer. It's an anaerobic Loctite, apparently. Loctite 620. So, you know, comment down below if you think this is worth it. If it's not worth it, all I'm doing is going by what the Bentley manual says. I did do some research on Loctite 620 and this primer. It says if you've got brass, then putting the primer on is optional. So I may just put this Loctite on the threads, get these seals on first, make sure I get the O-rings on, and get them in these holes, so that this fuel injector insert issue is done and over with. So I want to get those done. So I'm gonna grab myself a coffee and jump into this.
Let's begin.
Okay, so let's talk about brass inserts and the fuel injector insulators. As you saw, I was able to knock the old ones off. From a previous video, I decided to stay with the original ones instead of going with the secondary market ones, because these look like they're in pretty good shape. The instructions for the Loctite and the primer say that you need to get these things as clean as possible. So these aren't bad. I have played around with just a very light brush to try to knock off some of the dirt that's in the threads, but since this thread locker is for threads, and I'm sure I'm being a little bit over analytical and anal on this,
You think?
and these would be just fine, I wanted to see if I could use something to clean them up a little bit more. And my usual go-to is Simple Green. but a little research in Simple Green basically says that don't use it on brass products. So a little bit more searching, and I found that if you use a product called Barkeeper's Friend, the soft cleanser product, which you can find in the US. I don't know about the UK or in Europe. If you can find this is safe to use on brass. And I did a little playing with one just to see how it works. You put a little bit of that Barkeeper's Friend on a nice soft cloth and just work it around. And you can see that I was able to clean it up. Hopefully you can see that. The threads look pretty good. They're nice and clean in this one.
Damn.
So I'm just going to do a very quick, it took me 2 minutes to get this result. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then when these are clean and washed off and rinsed, then we'll start thinking about putting these inserts back into the cylinder head using the primer. Turns out that the primer is okay to skip on brass parts, but since we're going into obviously an aluminum head, it says go ahead and use that. So I will be using the primer. This is the primer and the Loctite 620 for the installation. And before I do that, there is a gasket. Don't forget to put that gasket on that goes on this lip. So as soon as I clean these other three up, I'll be back. Okay, hey, I'm back. These are clean to the best of my ability now. I didn't get all of it out. There's a little bit of stuff on here, but I have to say they're pretty darn clean. Did I have to go this clean? Did I have to go this extra step of making these things look unfrickin' believable? Well, I did. You don't have to, but I did. So there it is. Only took a couple minutes. It came out pretty nice. So the next thing to do is put these insulators on, and I've got new insulators. There is a lip.
What?
There is a lip right here.
What?
And this insulator goes over that lip and should snap right into place.
That's what she said.
I don't know if you heard that, but there it is.
Exactly.
So this does still rotate on here, but now this insulator has been put on top of this insert. So I'll go ahead and do that with all the rest of them. All right. So now we've got our 4 cleaned up brass inserts for the injectors and their insulator attached.
Woohoo!
And again, these things went on very easily. You can see that you can twist it in there. It's a mechanical fit. It's not coming off. All right, so here's the cylinder head. Here's where the fuel injectors go. This is where the inserts are going to go, and you can see that they're going to screw right into place. And it's time to put the primer on, the Loctite primer, and put the Loctite 620 on and get these things screwed down. And I believe they are supposed to be put in with 15 foot-pounds. I'll verify that. Yep, here it is. So here's the threaded insert, fuel injector insert, 20 Newton meters, 15 foot-pounds. And if you look at these inserts from the top side, it's got a hex inside, and that takes a 13 millimeter. So that will go right in here as such, and that'll be very easy to put the torque wrench to and get those inserted.
Stop. Hammer time.
Alright, so here's the directions I pulled off of the Loctite page about how to do this. Basically clean all the threads. If necessary, spray bolt and hole with the primer. Allow to dry for 30 seconds. Select the proper strength thread locker. We know what that is. Squirt several drops down the sides of the female threads. Apply several drops to the bolt. And then tighten as usual. So it looks pretty straightforward. Let's do it. Okay, so hey, I took a look at this primer label, and it says it's highly flammable and can cause lots of irritation and whatnot. So I am going to take the head outside and put these inserts out in the garage, put them in outside in the garage where there's lots of fresh air. So let's move on out there.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
God damn it, I am such a moron. All that cleaning, all that prep, and I go look at the video, and what do I frickin' forget? I forget to put the goddamn O-ring on there.
Serious?
Fuck! And now these things are rock frickin' solid in there. In the 5 minutes that I did it, God damn it. All that hard work and prep, and I forgot the O-ring that goes right underneath here.
A few moments later.
Alright, after re-cleaning the inserts and making sure that I got the injector O-ring seal kits ready, this is the big one that's going to go on that lip, which I forgot to do the first time. We're going to make sure that we get that done. It turns out that the manual also says that prior to installation of this O-ring onto the insert, the O-rings have to be lubricated with fuel. So I'll get a little bit of gasoline here, or petrol for my UK friends, and wet these up. Make sure I insert it, and let's go through the whole thing of the primer and 620 one more time.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Make sure I don't lose these other seals. This kit comes with 3 seals. These 2 smaller ones go on the injector itself, and then this big one, which is actually kind of like a square profile. is the one that sits on the injector, like so. That is, if you don't forget to put it on. No! Alright, let's try this again.
There is no try.